We're live, guys. We're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Yeah, Baba. We are live. We are not just live. We are live. Look at it. Look at that tongue motion. Look at that tongue motion. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, a lot of guys don't have that, and then it makes. Nah, never mind. Rick, leave that alone. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Nasty Nate, man.
Hey, actually,
bro, it's nothing but men back here.
Hey, they call me Rick. There's one thing that you can never call the Rick.
Weird activities, man.
If there's one thing that you can never call the Rick, it's a cabron. Now, so ladies and gentlemen, take it how you want it. No pun intended. Anyway, so Levon, man, we were supposed to do this show on Saturday, but for those who live in rural areas, trees fall down and down and down, and one of them damn trees fell and knocked that damn Xfinity, what do you call that? That Xfinity wire down to the ground. However, this is why I tell you, jabronis, don't buy digital. Guess what? The whole street's got no power. The Rick's got a generator. And you know all those little streaming services you guys have, your Voodoos, your Disney Plus, your Netflix, your Tubi, your YouTube, your Peacock, your Apple. None of that stuff worked on Saturday. But guess what the Rick has? A physical library. So I was watching I watched Thundercats all afternoon. Thundercats. Thundercats. Oh, man, it was great. Felt like a kid again. Watched some Thundercats. What else? I watched a little Voltron. I watched some Batman animated series, Justice League. Bro, I was watching all that stuff.
What about some He-Man? Did you watch He-Man?
Nah, I didn't see. Here's why I didn't watch. Good question, though, Nico. I didn't watch He-Man because it'll make me go start buying the toys again. Yeah, so certain things where you have all the toys, like I have all the Thundercat stuff. There's nothing left for me there's nothing, bro. I got a Sword of Omen sitting over here in a, what's the name? I got enough Thundercat stuff. I got all the Voltron stuff. They ain't got no more Voltron stuff for me to get. But if I go watch something like a He-Man or Transformers, I'm in trouble. Because now I start looking through my collection saying, hey, what don't I have? You know, I want to get this, get that, or whatever.
You know what I want, man? I want that Green Ranger sword. You call it dragon and shit.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, you want the one-to-one, the real size, like if it was you. Yeah.
I might get that eventually, though. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I might get that.
Hey, Mustang Gamer, they're really going to trade Dak? If they do, that'll be so beautiful. I'll trade Dak. I'll take Aaron Rodgers right now. I will.
Aaron Rodgers. Y'all, you really going to suck me in.
I don't care. Long as it's not Rain Prescott holding the ball at the end of the day. All right, so listen, let's get this started. Levon, I sent you on a mission, but we're gonna cover that topic last. Now,
okay.
I know you got a Woody right now because there's some Nintendo news.
Yes.
Well, I'm actually not gonna talk about that first.
What?
You were mentioning physical media.
Yes.
Speaking of physical media, have you gotten gaming magazines before?
Oh, yeah, I used to have these Game Pro. The Rick used to have Electronics Gaming Monthly. The Rick used to have Game Informer that they shoved down the Rick's throat every time I went to GameStop. They throw the book at me and they're like, hey, $12. This is covering you for the year.
That there's going to be a new gaming print magazine
now,
from a certain company that you know about.
Now, is this what we're talking? Is this the Game Informer?
Yes.
Now, are they really back? Really? Now,
yes.
Now, here's what it does. Now, if you got a bunch of J-Dubs writing articles on it, it's not going to do anything.
No, this is from Game Informer themselves.
Well, we can't have a bunch of J-Dubs or who's the other guy? Who's the jabroni, the pony jabroni that loves the
copy and paste
the VR
in links and articles.
I have it. Game Informer is back by Matt Miller, right?
You got it?
Yeah, I got. Come on, the Rick's always got it. But go ahead.
Okay, so the team at Gonzala Games secured the rights to Game Informer from the start. New owners insisting on the idea of Game Informer remaining an independent editorial outlet. They felt just as strongly as our team did that the only path forward was with an editorial group that made 100% of the decisions around what we cover and how we do so without any influence from them or anyone else.
Hmm.
I'm trying to find the part about the print stuff. There we go. There we go.
Now, are they? Now, let's be honest here, Levon, and I don't mean to cut you off, but this only works if GameStop's going to still be a shill for them. That's the only way. Like, I don't think anybody. First of all, you can't go into a corner store or to a bookstore to go and buy this magazine. Like, it's got to be somewhere. You know, it's got to be.
I got some info on that though.
You do?
Gunzilla is a crypto company. They made a crypto game called Off the Grid. So if they can tie in Game Informer with some like NFT prizes or like some physical, crypto stuff, it can be big because the crypto community love having NFTs and like physical merch to go along with the crypto token or whatever. So if they can incorporate that with the new video games coming up or the new crypto games or the new NFTs, they can get some big support.
Now, my only problem with that is why it's hard to run a gaming magazine is the same reason why it's hard to buy a newspaper. We get guys that are on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. These guys are breaking gaming news like within the hour, within the minute. By the time it's in a magazine, it's old enough to vote. You see what I'm saying? So to me, unless they're going to give you a deep dive or have an interview of a person with power, but even then, the interview will be online way before that physical magazine is going to be printed. It is very hard. This is why, again, I love Game Informer when I was getting it and all of that stuff. Love to see people back at work. The problem is, a gaming magazine is just as useful as a newspaper. When's the last time anybody in the chat or anybody in the panel bought a newspaper? You don't need to buy it now. You got phone alerts, 3 niggas shot in New Haven. It beeps, getting 6 inches of snow. Like, we don't have to get a newspaper to say the snow's, hell, by the time you go buy a newspaper and say it's snowing, well, you're probably in the snow buying the damn paper. So that's my only pushback with this magazine coming back is magazines and anything that has to do with instantaneous outcomes like news, rumors, breaking news. You can't break news in a magazine. You can't break news in a newspaper.
I think it's a little bit more what Nico was saying. I think they probably are going to use it to probably do like exclusive illustrations of
early
different
access
things with NFTs.
Yep.
You gotta look
Early
at the
access.
company that's buying them out instead of actually a traditional way of doing things, which was magazines. We all know that. Come on, newsfeed X alone, you get the stuff within seconds of someone passing before
absolutely.
the news company even says it. So I agree with you fully on that part. But I think you're probably just doing a different avenue with it, and it just happened to be this company that they bought out to do it.
Man,
so it's more like I'm buying you for your expertise to handle something else.
Man, so do you think it'll be successful?
Yeah, wait and see. I gotta take the Levon approach on this. We gotta wait and see what they about to do, because I don't know fully what they're going to be even using them for to even say if it's going to be successful or not.
Now, are you interested in this magazine? Will you get a subscription? And if you do, is it going to be physical or digital? Now, make sure you say the right thing here. So,
absolutely not.
I'm get that physical, man.
That's right, my nigga. Now, Levon, you're the one that bought us this article. Would you be interested in the Game Informer? Because they were very Nintendo friendly. Those guys love Nintendo. They were very. But is there still a Nintendo Power magazine out there, Levon?
I don't think so.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Whoa. Fucking whoa. You're telling me the biggest Nintendo guy doesn't know if there's a Nintendo Power magazine? What's going on here? And now that alone proves my point of what I was talking about. Oh shit. That right there lets me know that as much as he loves his handhelds, he can give a damn about a gaming magazine. The gaming magazine exists within Discord, within Twitter, within it. That's where it is. Eesh
final
is
issue, was
here.
released on December 11th, 2012. That
So
was
now,
the final issue.
okay, yeah. Well, thankfully, Ish is here, and he said, "I'm the biggest Nintendo guy, and there is no Nintendo Power." Now, I used to love Nintendo Power because all them hard ass games, they had like cheat codes and tricks and stuff for them. Games like yeah, I remember Fact Santa Do, man. That game gave me nightmares, bro. That game was hard. And then the Ninja Gaiden, there was really no tricks. I think there was some way to get like invincibility for a little bit, but if you really couldn't beat a game on a Nintendo, you had to go get a certain device, folks. And Game Shark, my arse. Hold on one second. I'm gonna take you guys down a trip to memory lane here. Let me see. I hope it's here. Hold on one second here. I hope it's here. Oh, in the meantime, Levon gets Ty's thoughts on this magazine shit. I'll be right back.
What's your thoughts on Game Informer coming back and in a print magazine?
We don't need that no more. We get the demos free already, so it's kind of over with.
Oh man, y'all gotta think future forward, man. I'm telling y'all, bro. I'm telling y'all. Look,
I mean, it is.
Hey!
We get
What's your
we get
problem?
everything off Twitter. Let's just be honest. So I mean, everything they gonna put in there, unless it's like some stuff that ain't been reached nowhere, then you can say that.
incentive. They gonna make some incentives. I believe so. I think so.
Maybe it is. I don't see it, but
The company Godzilla ain't known for that.
All right, so let's talk about, I guess, the Nemesis system. Let's talk about that. The Nemesis system, which is from games like Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. I think that's the second game's name. Am I saying that right? Or
yep.
yeah. So Nemesis system was created to stop Warner Brothers games losing, and that studio is closed. So a former VP of Warner Brothers Games explained exactly why the system was created in the first place. But the real reason reveals a gaping flaw in the plan all these years later. That didn't work. Laura Fryer, formerly a VP at Warner Brothers Games, who oversaw studios including Monolith, recently went on record talking about her time at the company. She oversaw Monolith's operations since 2008, which means she was around for the inception of the Nemesis system. The reason it was created is a little convoluted, but it all comes down to money. Warner Brothers Games identified a financial flaw in the industry in the form of secondhand game sales. Ooh. Players would buy a game once, then sell it back to a store as a trade-in, with then changing hands again and again. Ooh. Most likely, Warner Brothers Games was concerned with seeing no value on those successive sales, only getting paid for the first copy sold. All right, what do you guys think?
I mean, it's true, but at the same time, once you get your sale, that's your sale. As messed up as it is. Because guess what? We can't sell you back the game. Have you ever thought about that? And we can't sell them back the game that they worried about getting a price for.
All right, hold on. I can't find my goddamn Game Genie. Somebody fucking either walked off with it or I misplaced it. But here's what I will say. And I'm sorry, Ty, to interrupt you. Here's what they came up with that system because of Batman. The Batman game was only 11 hours long. And they wanted to, and what happened was, I believe Warner Brothers, I think it was Arkham Asylum. Swordfish is here. I believe it was Arkham Asylum that got sold more through people like GameStop and places like that, rather than them actually selling the actual game, because they found a way to beat the game. It was only 11 hours. Remember, this was before DLC and all of that other stuff. So this Nemesis thing was created to make the game get harder. Excuse me, get harder. Pause. Or more interesting. As you play. So your first playthrough will never be like your second and third. So that's why this was done. That's a fact. I think it was Arkham Asylum that caused it. I didn't know Arkham Asylum was only 11 hours because I was doing all them damn Riddler trophies. So it wasn't 11. It wasn't 11 hours for me. I don't know what y'all talking about. I got all those damn Riddler trophies. But I just wanted to come in here and piggyback. I'm a little upset right now because I can't find my Game Genie. It was inside of my regular Nintendo. I go over there, it's closed. I don't know what happened. Levon saw how my storage looked. I showed him when I went there. I'm not looking at all of that for it. That's a bit much. Yeah, that storage bin was disgusting. I went to the storage bin. I think it was Monday, bro. I saw my Last of Us 2 collector's edition, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel's Avengers, bro. I am a fool to buying all of them damn freaking collector's editions that offer. Hell, right behind me right now, we got the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Starfield, and Mortal Kombat 1 sitting right behind me. So, that's that. So, yeah, Death Stranding 2 is going to get my money. Indiana Jones already got my money. But, that's kind of where we are with that there. Shout out to Swordfish. E said the Nintendo Direct needs to be a topic. Levon. Hell, he's a Nintendo guy and he don't have his own. What the hell's wrong with him? King Reaper is here. What's good, King Reaper? Well, man, where's my applause button at? There we go. Yeah.
Levon say he's tired of you shitting on all his topics.
Yeah, but I didn't shit on Levon's topics.
All right, so let's talk about the Nintendo stuff here, since Nico pretty much brought it up. This is from Tom Henderson, Insider Gaming. So he's known for, basically revealing the stuff about the PS5 Pro and the PlayStation Portal, which were all considered rumors by a lot of people in the gaming community.
So, now hold on. Is this the
Yeah, this is the Reddit thing or whatever.
For Jazz or for Microsoft UI? No.
No, we're talking about the Nintendo stuff.
Hold on a second. This nigga ain't giving me.
What I'm hearing is they're gonna have an Xbox game at the Nintendo thing tomorrow. That's what I'm hearing.
No. I'm talking about the Switch too.
Well, that's April 2nd. That's April 2nd.
Hold on.
Nintendo Direct is tomorrow.
No. I'm talking about the three-phase launch plan.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I don't see it. I don't see it in these links.
You don't?
No, I do not.
Trust in Nintendo, man. They got it.
Hold up.
Ready to
go.
Let me copy and paste.
Tom Henderson. Hold on. I think I found it.
You found it?
Nintendo year.
I found it. Tom Henderson, Insider Gaming, Nintendo Switch 2 will have a 3-phase launch.
Yes. So launch event in June with dev kits going out for most third-party developers.
When? Oh, whoa.
Yeah, that's the interesting part right there.
Wait, hold on a second. Dev kits are going out in June?
No, launch event. It's launching in June.
Okay, so it's launching in June. So when are dev kits going out?
The dev kits is going out to all the other third-party developers, like your random AA developers.
Well,
I think that's a lie. They've been out, bro.
I think not only that. Let's be honest. Nintendo doesn't need them. Nintendo is primarily first-party.
They sent them to the big third-party ones already. The smaller ones are gonna get
the smaller ones, and your indie developers haven't.
Okay.
So I'm glad you said that, Ty, because if Black Myth Wukong comes out on the Switch 2 before the Xbox, oh my god, that'll be terrible.
I told you, man, Switch 2 finna get all the support, bro. They finna get all the support.
As they should.
So now that we got that out of the way, phase strategy for games, primary first party at launch, third party in October/November, then holiday for final phase. So yeah, that's the 3-phase strategy.
Here's what I would say, Nico. Nintendo is obviously going to get more. So, first of all, if you take the Switch 1 sales, and I believe it's more than the Xbox. I guarantee you, if you add up the PlayStation 4, Xbox One sales, the Switch sales are more. Guarantee you that.
Yeah, of course.
Guarantee you that. So hell, you gotta support it. There's nobody in here that can come in here with a decent argument on why the Switch shouldn't be supported by everybody. I mean, hell, as you can see
150
now,
million consoles sold, bro.
yeah,
150 million.
yeah, 150. Listen, here I got to give it to Nico and Levon. I wasn't on board with that handheld shit. Listen, I was traditionalist. I thought that the only games that I wanted to play on my handheld would be the short games like the Game Boys used to give you. Remember, Game Boy wouldn't give you a long-ass Zelda-type game on Game Boy. It got to give you something that's going to be in line with the battery life. You know, like I remember the Spider-Man game on Game Boy. Yo, that was crazy. So, yeah, matter of fact, I want to show some video of that, but that'd be later. So, that game was crazy. So,
they can change the game, bro.
But yeah, so I mean, now, see, I was being an ignoramus. I didn't think about game. Yeah, I said it. I was being an ignoramus because I look at this now. Hold on a second. This wouldn't help me right now, at least, because this is not a thing. There is no MLB The Show on PC. It's only on console.
Yeah,
However,
that's true.
However, if MLB The Show was on PC, I would buy it on PC. Or, you know, on Steam, because I can carry my Steam Deck with me and play the games while I'm at my kids' actual games. Mm-hmm. Bro, playing 142 baseball games on a video game takes a long time. It takes months. I've been playing NBA 2K, and I think I'm finally in January, and I bought the game like a month ago. Like, bro, these games take forever. They take forever to play, because the more and more that they make these sports games simulation games is going to what? Simulate the time of a real game. The only thing in baseball is why you can speed it up because the cutscenes. See, in baseball, there's always cutscenes in real life. Pitcher will throw the ball, he'll step off the mound. Somebody come and talk to him. Then there's commercial break between innings. So you eliminate all that when you're playing on your PlayStation. You just press the X button, you skip to the next inning, you skip the introductions, you skip all of that shit. You can get to the next batter a lot faster. That's why if you're playing a real MLB The Show game, a real baseball game, it's going to take you about an hour. Real game, 9 innings, is going to take you about an hour. So
one game, goddamn.
Yeah, one game. One game gonna take you an hour. Yeah, gonna take you an hour. It's gonna take you an hour. Hey, and again, baseball ain't for everybody. You know, you guys be. Listen. Yeah, y'all not built for that baseball. But it takes a while. It's not like Madden when you play a 5-minute quarter. See, that's the thing about baseball that's different between the other sports. There's no time. You can take as long as you want. They got a pitch count. But think about this, you might think you're having a fast game, right? So you're beating up a team 10-0. Those are the longer games, because now you done put up 10 runs. That pitcher is still out there. Yeah, there ain't no forfeit. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all. When I play my MLB The Show, I want to blow every team out, because I might have a player who's in a slump. And I got to get him out of this slump. So every time I go up the bat with him, I'm trying to get a hit with that guy to get him out of this slump. Because they let you know when guys are hot, when guys are cold. That's a real deal. That's why I say MLB The Show is the best sports game ever. There's no better sports games out there. They are realistic to almost a fault in that game. Realistic to the fault, so that a regular game takes an hour. So, you know, there it is. But I think there's something wrong with these dev kits. They can't be that late. Can't be. No way. First of all, if something is releasing now this year, bro, they got those dev kits a year ago.
Well, I mean, the big third parties probably got dev kits 2-3 years ago.
He said MLB The Show is a good RPG. Touche, motherfucker. Touche.
Great way to go to sleep.
Yeah, but you know what though? Well, listen. First of all, let's play Big Bang, take Little Bang. The biggest publisher is Xbox. They already had the dev kits for the Switch. And I'm pretty sure they had the Switch 2 dev kits. Because I don't know, because Minecraft was over there. So they already had games on Nintendo. So, you know, and
and Capcom, Sega,
yes,
Bandai Namco, they
yeah,
probably all got their dev kits too.
yeah. I mean, hell, what third party didn't get them? What's those? Who's those guys that bought Tomb Raider? Was it Embracer? Are those the guys last? I mean, hell, they don't make anything. Yeah, huh?
Sony didn't get it.
Who didn't get it?
Sony.
Sony?
Oh.
Yeah, they did. MLB The Show's on there.
Yeah,
They do have it. Yeah, MLB The Show's over there.
Lego Horizon.
Yeah, Horizon, Lego Horizon, bro.
Boy, ain't nobody play
Listen,
that trash.
listen.
Ain't nobody
Whoa,
play that
whoa, whoa, fucking
trash.
whoa.
Rick, you didn't
Whoa.
play that trash.
I didn't, but we're not gonna sit here and call anything Horizon trash. We're not doing that.
You didn't play it, so it gotta be trash.
No, I didn't play it. I didn't play it because I didn't see a PC version.
Oh man, whatever. Man, the game trash, bro. Ain't nobody.
Oh, this
speaking on
nigga
it.
is a
Ain't
hater.
nobody tripping about that
Anyway,
shit,
anyway, my nigga. Anyway,
Rick got every collector's edition of Horizon.
I do. Yeah, but they didn't release a collector's edition. They didn't release a collector's edition, so I wasn't interested. What do you want from me? I'm keeping him on the run with him shotgun. But anyway, look. All I'm gonna say is, if we talking about Nintendo and dev kits, I don't know. Those niggas had to have them already. There ain't no way they just now getting dev kits, bro. That's crazy. There's no way. No way, no way, no way.
But the N64 launch again. How did that launch?
That only launched with Super Mario 64 and Pilot Wings, I believe, or some shit like.
Only 2 games.
Yeah, but see, you gotta understand. Back then, games were a lot longer, and it didn't matter. You know, people bang on Nintendo third-party support. They hardly ever had any third-party support beyond the 8-bit Nintendo. Remember all the
Super Nintendo.
Yeah, because it had the greatest game. It had that Zelda. That was the best game on there. It had the Zelda, the Donkey Kong Country, bro. That changed everything. Those games, especially graphically, it changed, bro. That was crazy. Thank you. Isha's right. Mario 64 was enough. That was the first time 3D. You had the analog stick. That was the whole thing. That was Mario. It's a me. When he jumped into the shit, they shoot him. Go! And all that stuff. Dude, bro, everybody was playing Mario 64. Bro, they were. And then, don't forget, Nintendo 64, Nintendo 64 was graphically impressive. If anybody played the first Killer Instinct, that shit looked good on there. Can I interest you in Cruising USA? They had some of the better games out there that were fun to play. Hell, they had Cruising USA in the arcade. I remember those days. Cruising. Donkey Kong Country, that was on SNES, but I'm talking 64-wise. Bro, they had that. That Mario was a beast. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't like that Zelda that was released on the 64. Yeah, you could miss him with that.
You like Ocarina of Time?
Yes, that was good, but they had another one when he was a baby. Remember?
Majora's Mask? Is that the one you're talking about? Or
it was Wind Waker. That one. That's the one I didn't like.
Okay. Oh, that's the GameCube. That's the.
Okay, then we're good on 64. Then we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now the Legend of the Majora's Mask, that was just a remake of what's the name? The On a Canary of Time. Wasn't it just like the dark mode of that one? I don't remember. Sure. Yeah, it wasn't, bro. It's not. Something was up with that one. I don't remember what it was, but I have beaten every Zelda game. So I don't, except for that the Wind Waker on GameCube. That was trash. That was straight trash. He was a kid again. Hey, listen. No, I'm good. No, I ain't like that. Yeah, and it's like now here. Yes, Ish, Majora's Mask. What was that one? Like there was something with that. It wasn't like a mainline Zelda, was it? What was going on with that?
Y'all talking about Zelda?
Yeah, maybe you can help me. Majora's Mask, Neff. What was with that game? It wasn't like a true Zelda game or something. Something was with it that wasn't for the Zelda purists. I don't remember what it was. Something was up with that game.
That game came out like when I was born, so I can't help you.
Like Isha's, he said it was a spinoff. Yeah, something was wrong with it. When I say that, it wasn't like a true Zelda game. But that Zelda On a Canary of Time, that was probably the best Zelda game of all time. I mean, it's got to be up there with that and Link to the Past that was on the Super Nintendo. That Link to the Past and that Donkey Kong Country is what made the Super Nintendo the beast that it was. I mean, they survived Mortal Kombat without blood over there, bro. That lets you know that those games kind of carried the whole thing, bro. If you can get a Mortal Kombat game without blood, bro, that's like driving a Mario Kart without wheels. Like, bro, that's crazy. That was the whole point of having Mortal Kombat, to see people. Everybody wanted to do Kano's move when he ripped your heart out.
Well, I mean, wasn't there the Sega Genesis? Wasn't that its competitor?
Yeah, well, it was. Well, you know what? That's not really fair, and I'll tell you why. The Sega Genesis was a 16-bit machine. If anything, you got to compare the Master System to the 8-bit Nintendo. See, that's how that whole thing was really unbalanced. Like Nintendo, like Sega was coming out saying, planting their flag in the ground, saying, "Hey, Genesis does," but Genesis was a more powerful system, so the game should look better. Plus, all Sega did, and again, I'm not shitting on Sega. All Sega really did was convert all of their arcade games onto the Genesis. Sega was a powerhouse in the arcade, like Microsoft is now with with Bethesda, with ABK and all that. Man, you couldn't walk through an arcade without a Sega game. If there was a Sega game that you didn't play, Rocky was in the arcade. Super Monaco GP, arcade. Space Harrier, arcade. All of that stuff was arcade games, and they bought over to the 16-bit Genesis. So that's what made it seem like, man, this Genesis is as powerful as an arcade system. That was our whole thing. How you guys measure T-flops and stuff now. If anything looked anything like the arcade, that's what we compared it to. We was like, man, arcade. Bro, the arcade was so superior graphically and power-wise. We had kids in our school that were rich kids. Parents would buy them the Mortal Kombat cabinet. Like, basically, like $2,000. Boom, bought it for one game. Bought this kid the Mortal Kombat cabinet so people could come over and play for free. I remember that kid. Yeah, he bought a cabinet. Then, me, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, Nana. Nana's like, all right, which one do you want? I let Nana off. We only paid $1,100. I got the RoboCop. Because they never had a true-to-life RoboCop game on console where you can shoot people and all that other stuff. That was RoboCop made by Data East. Got that. Nana got me that. That was $1,100. So I remember I still have it to this day. I wish I could bring the camera into my garage. I still have the RoboCop. Nobody plays it, and it smells mildew, but it still works. You talk about you guys talk about 1080p, bro. That's like a 300p. Like that thing is just, oh my god, those games.
But it's still fun, though.
Now I do have fun when I bring out my Sega Saturn, and I have to play that on a tube TV when we play Virtual Cop, because they don't have a light gun shooter, because you can't on these LCD TVs. You can't do it. You can't bounce the light off it. They're trying to make one that you can do it. I saw like a makeshift one on PC. It was pretty cool for what it was, but you got to go and mod it online in order for it to work correctly. So it's not a plug and play.
What was the topic again?
Yeah, but before I interrupt you, are you guys podcasting?
Yeah.
We're live.
I had no idea. So what's the topic?
No, actually,
We were talking about the Nintendo's. Hold up. We were talking about the Switch 2 3-phase launch plan. First of all, it's going to be launching in June, and the dev kits will be basically going out to all the other third-party developers, such as your AA's and indie developers. There's also a 3-phase strategy: primary, first party at launch, third party in October and November, and then holiday for final phase. This is from Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming.
Now that we gave it,
how powerful is this thing really gonna be, though?
But Neff, before you get to that question, Neff, hold on. Do you believe that they just now getting those dev kits to those people? Neff,
I mean, that's hard for me to believe.
Yes.
But then again, it is Nintendo.
Well, hey, folks, Microsoft's the biggest
they're
publisher.
aiming for like a summer release, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the rumor is.
It will launch in June. It'll launch in June. Yeah, that's what this thing says.
Now, I'm of the thought that they should launch it when GTA launches. That's what I'm of the thought.
God.
I'm trying to tell you, bro.
So you want to see Suicide? This
I want to see Bedlam. That's what I want to see.
Be honest with each other, like, okay.
I
respect Nintendo for what they bring to the table, but come on, man.
Oh my god! Wait for another 7 months. God damn, Jesus Christ!
They doing right now. Release it in June. They don't want no smoke for no.
Bro, let me tell you something. Yes, Ish, I will be getting the Switch 2 at launch. Listen, let me tell y'all something right now. If the new Nintendo Switch 2 launched the same day as GTA, I think Nintendo will beat them.
Desert Storm.
I think Nintendo would beat them. I think Nintendo, bro. I think Nintendo would beat GTA. I think it would. I'm telling you.
You better go chill with Nana in that day.
Bro.
Gaming cabinet you was talking
Bro,
about.
let me tell you something.
Console sales versus the game.
Bro, and guess what, Nico? I could only go on what the last Switch was, and it was a disaster. There was lines outside of GameStop from here to New York, and they didn't have it, and people were fighting. I ain't never seen nobody fight, bro. They were fighting.
You living with nostalgia.
Okay, and guess what? And guess what, Mello?
Hold on, wait. Nico perfectly just said it. You're talking about console sales where you're only going to sell one console per household in most normal circumstances to software where you can buy multiple. Stop it.
So you telling me?
I
Hold on.
Like your Nana, I understand.
Listen,
you like
bro.
your gaming cabinet. This ain't back in the old days, bro.
Exactly. Which lets me. And now here's where nostalgia, like you said, might bite you in the ass. What happens if this GTA 6 come out and the Metacritic scores ain't right? People will leave that shit alone real quick, and you know it. They'll be like, and hold on. Before you even answer that was a rhetorical question. Hold on. Yeah, you're on the GTA side for the PC role playing stuff. That ain't there yet, bro. You got years for that.
No, I'm talking console. I'm talking in general as a whole organization and as a staff. Grand Theft Auto is the epitome of gaming, bro. I'm sorry, it is what it is.
Listen, you can say that, but there is no way.
Nintendo doing a very smart, intelligent move. They're releasing it in June, and they're getting away from that GTA smoke for a reason.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a company release a game out for said console and it sells out before the console even hits the goddamn store shelves? That's what that Switch did. The Switch did that for Zelda. Yes, they did. They were buying a fucking game and the system wasn't even out yet. They were buying it.
Hold up.
Again, I respect Nintendo for what they bring to the table. I respect them. Absolutely. No questions asked. They are a pillar of the gaming community, but they don't want GTA smoke. It's the reason why GTA released on 3 different generational consoles and sold very well.
Here's where I would give you pushback.
It didn't have anything to do with PC until the pandemic happened.
The GTA audience and Nintendo audience are two different audiences.
That is true. That's what makes it even worse. You have a small niche group of individuals with Nintendo who only involve themselves in that Nintendo atmosphere. They only want to buy the console once, and you have the juggernauts, which is the PlayStations and the Microsoft users, who's going to go out and run amok with this game, which is called Grand Theft Auto.
I like what Ish the Rabbi said.
They are already selling it to 2 different demographics, so even on that aspect, you're done.
All right. For what you said, it makes sense. But there is a Nintendo player born every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not only that, that's usually a kid's first console. And let me tell you something. I like what Ish said. GTA could be GTA, but it ain't bigger than Mario and Pokemon. It's not. It'll get stomped out against them two. I don't think GTA wants that Mario or Pokemon smoke.
Even I said that.
They don't. They don't want that smoke. Yeah, they don't want that smoke. Bro, I'm telling you right now, Mello, listen, and I'm only going by 150 million consoles sold for the Switch, right? And they're the only company that's damn near 1-to-1 with their first party. Hell, they only got first party, really. Right? Now, remember I told you 150 million. You can combine the PS4 and the Xbox One together before you get 150. Nintendo combined is their whole shit. They're really the number one gaming console. Fuck what you heard. You can tell me all this shit about Sony being a brand. They ain't sold 150 million. You can tell me all about the hell. Nintendo's so bad, they sell a whole bunch of shit to catch up with the PS2, and Sony make up some shit. So they sold a few of them out in the garage just to try to get it further so they won't break the record. So they're watching. Swoopy says, do y'all hear about Elon Musk and Ubisoft beefing? Oh, man.
I had no idea about this.
No, I didn't hear about it.
I saw
I didn't hear about it.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, well, you know.
I didn't see all of it.
Now, why would they pick a fight with him when he can just buy him and fire everybody? Y'all better leave that man alone. Yeah, leave that man alone. Exactly. Ubisoft better leave that man alone. Man, listen, see, this is what happened. Ubisoft sold a couple of subscriptions, a little bit of Assassin's Creed, now they on their high horse. But guess what? Ubisoft, look at the camera over here. Ubisoft, you got to make 12 more games like that this year in order to beat it. So, hey, you ain't got it.
We gonna turn.
You ain't got it,
we gonna see,
man.
Hey, look, we gonna turn around, Rick, and overnight we gonna see Starlink Gaming on the
facts. They better leave, man. They better leave that man alone. Bro, now,
500 billion sitting
yeah, bro. Listen, man, listen. Now he said Elon got cooked. He got cooked in the Twitter comments. Yeah, he gonna have him deleted too. You better leave that man alone. Hell, listen, you can't be the richest guy, the most money, the biggest social media platform, bro. Those kind of people you leave alone. You leave those people alone.
And he got a particular color individual on his pocket.
Yeah. Leave him alone. Yeah, leave him alone, bro. Leave that dude alone.
Leave that man alone.
Yeah, he got too much power. Ain't nobody fucking with him. He said Ubisoft put out a tweet coming at him because he said something bad about Assassin's Creed. Oh shit, they got their feelings hurt. Yeah, that's what happened. Listen, you know what? I'm actually on Ubisoft's side. I'll tell you why. Because they had so many.
What he said.
No, well, I'll tell you why. It doesn't matter what he says.
Oh, wow.
Give them their flowers. They finally got a good game. People are playing. You know, don't fucking kick them while they're down. They're trying. Look, they're not going to get out of the hole by any means. Hell, they just got off the phone with Phil Spencer to combine Game Pass and Ubisoft shit together yesterday. They're trying to get a deal in. Hell, they were sinking ship. Let them try. Look,
that's the problem, though. Hold on, wait. See, that's why I give you a little kickback on the Eli thing. Even though I didn't hear what he said or mentioned or seen it or whatever the case may be. If you put yourself in a predicament where your back is against the wall, you can't get mad at individuals that come at you because of what you did to yourself. You chat about your own company.
Hey, look, I didn't play yet. I got too much going on.
Hold on, Rick. How you know they ain't getting their back kicked in on purpose to make him buy them so they can leave with something instead of nothing?
Yeah, but but he's offering pennies on a dollar, bro. Listen, now, Ubisoft.
What's he gonna buy? Tesla stock?
Probably.
He could.
Yeah.
Tesla stock is fucking tanked, dude.
That don't mean nothing. It's still worth $500 billion.
It's still worth more than Ubisoft. Now here's the thing about Ubisoft. You guys, they're gonna get bailed out by Tencent. Tencent will bail them out. Tencent's got money. He got
Ubisoft for some money though.
Yeah. Now Vaughn, that's not fair. Vaughn said Assassin's Creed. Vaughn said Assassin's Creed is mid, and he said Ghost is the better game. We all know Ghost is the better game. Man, bro, come on, Vaughn. But Vaughn, I guarantee. Come on, that's not fair. Come on, you can't compare the two. You know, Ghost of Tsushima's a better game.
To a guy on the spectrum, you just let him talk.
Yeah, man, come on, that's not fair to compare those two games. That's not fair, bro. Like that's like comparing like NBA Jam to 2K. Like, come on, man, that's not fair. Yeah, we listen. All of the voice acting, the lips don't move with the stuff like it do.
I'm about to say it's fair. So both of them are similar games, so it's fair in content. You can compare them, but don't nobody care. That's the thing. No one cares.
Yeah, but Assassin's Creed was more of an RPG.
Well, it is now. It wasn't like that originally.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about this one.
Yeah.
Right here.
Well, Valhalla was a super RPG. Like that was beyond like art. Now the problem with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, they pretended like there was a whole bunch of content. It was smoke and mirrors. It was basically the same mission all the time, but just using a different like person. It'll be a female, sort of a male. It'll be a different trinket or something. They kind of Yeah, listen, I ain't gonna look, bro. I ain't.
Fetch quest. They abuse
Yeah, bro. I put 200 hours into that game. I did. I put a lot of time into Valhalla. I love Valhalla. That was a good game. Look, I ain't gonna front. Would I have put that much time in Valhalla if the Xbox Series had launch games? Probably not. But that's all I had. that's all I had to play on my Xbox. Not even hell. I had nothing. Yeah, I had nothing. Yeah. Bro, I had nothing, bro. I had literally nothing. So that's the way. That's why Assassin's Creed Valhalla got played for me, because that was the only way that Xbox Series X was getting turned on. That was it.
Man.
Yo,
know what though, Rick? I'm gonna keep it a buck. I just want to touch base with what you saying, bro. A lot of people don't acknowledge how rough it was on the original release of the Xbox Medium. Oh my god, bro! It was so many terrible games.
That wasn't even at launch too. We had to wait for that.
It was bad. It was bad, bro. It was bad. It was bad. Listen,
backwards compatibility. That's what
PUBG,
bro. It was, bro. You know the hardest thing was though, and I got to give him his flowers. That motherfucking post up fought to the death, fucking protecting that goddamn that damn thing. Post up would come in there and fight, bro. And I got to give Post his powers. That brother's creative, because he really had the Xbox niggas behind him fighting for a system that had no fucking games. Like, bro, that shit, bro, and that's all, bro. That's the fucking leg he had to stand on, and he stood on it well. My nigga Post Up, shout out to him. Post Up capped his ass off for that Series S and X, and they had nothing. They were all out here. We was all capping for the medium. How you play two different worlds? That shit was cans, bro. That shit was cans. I can say it now. I'm not afraid anymore. That game was cans. Cans, bro.
We can tell the truth now.
Yeah, we can tell the truth now. Fuck that.
Hey, but low key though, I still stand on Quantum Break got mad disrespect, and that game was really good.
What did Xbox have back in 2021? The gun, they had
bro, it was bad.
The gun was okay though. I liked it better.
No, that shit was terrible.
All right, it was bad, bro.
Oh yeah. It's like a Switch game to me though, but I liked it though.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So
I remember when Rick would call it the junk. That's what.
So yeah, it was a junk. All right, so apparently Elon Musk said Hassan is a fraud, and then he said sellout would be more accurate. Objectively, he is promoting a terrible game just for the money. And then Assassin's Creed said, "Is that what the guy playing your Path of Exile 2 account told you?" Oh man,
They got pretty good.
oh.
Okay. I like that comeback. Okay.
Whoa. Oh man. Hey, listen, look, man, look. When you're down, look, listen.
Nerd Wars.
I really can't believe that I can't believe, like, I look back at those old shows when Post Up was fighting all y'all. We didn't really have anything to stand on. We really didn't have. I'm reflecting because I'm looking now and I'm like, damn, no games. And bro, I put 200 hours in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, bro. That was a pain. Out of those 200 hours, I'd say about 130 were painful because I had nothing. I had nothing to play. I had nothing, bro. I literally
secret outfits and stuff, and the weapons.
Yeah, I got everything, bro. I was so down bad. I bought the season pass to make sure, bro. Listen, I can't fight Vaughn. Listen, bro.
It's like having an ugly chicken. You got to pay attention.
I agree with Vaughn on this one.
Yeah.
I agree. PlayStation did have a good launch.
Yeah, bro. Listen, look now. I can.
Like you had a fat, ugly chicken. You had to focus on
yeah,
qualities. Like,
you did.
got good hair.
Yep. She got good hair. She got a nice voice. Stuff like that. Yeah, she got a nice voice. Look, Vaughn. Listen, I can admit it now because now it's like, hey, look, it's far behind. Yeah, bro. Listen, hey, look, PlayStation had the better launch. Now I will push back on you. This Xbox One had a better launch than the PS4. That that PS4 launch was a little. Yeah, that shit was brutal, bro. That was bad. What was that? Shogun, Gung Ho, whatever the hell that was.
I played that. Yeah, that's just.
Yeah, that was cans.
Little Planet.
They didn't.
What was it? Little Planet.
Little Big Planet. Now they started it. Knack. Yup, Knack. Now they started to show their teeth in March, or was it February, when they got Infamous Second Son. Yeah, that's when they showed their teeth.
That was the turning point. Yeah.
Yep. He right, bro. They had a Miles Morales coming out. And then listen, and us Xbox guys like, that ain't no game. That there's only 30. That's DLC, bro. We didn't have, bro. We didn't get anything. We didn't get. Remember, Halo was supposed to launch. Man. Wow. Bro, yo, can y'all believe that was 5 years ago? Yeah. Holy shit. Yes. Bro, that went by. Bro, my kids were in elementary school. I remember dropping them off. They was wearing uniforms. They had bald heads. They were the real extra light skin. And I remember they used to come to me and say, "Hey, Dad, who's that? Is that post up? Is he arguing with people? Is he winning?" Like, yeah, son, he's winning. And my kid walks upstairs, I'm like, hell no, post up is losing like a motherfucker, but we're using smoke and mirrors right now. Yeah, it was bad. Bro, then you had people like Marlon killing Xbox. Bro, they were killing them. Bro, it was not, bro, that was a tough time. Oh my God. It was a tough time.
2022, it was rough. That year.
That was woo, bro. Well, listen, man. Matter of fact,
yeah, 2022.
Listen, if they had it, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. Microsoft, what they should have did is when they delayed the Halo Infinite, they should have just delayed the whole goddamn system. Just said fuck it. They should have. They should have. They should have. They should have. They should have, bro. They should have did that. Think about it. Because then, think about it. Then you would have your launch will be way better. Think about that. Your launch will be, bro. The launch is king. X Dreamcast. They had the best launch ever in video game history. They just couldn't get there.
But you got to go through the growing pains. I think you had.
Bro, you already went through growing pains, Metal, with the X1 and the 1X.
Nah, you technically didn't, because one, we were still going through that phase of IPs. 2, ownership of the IPs. 3, they were still doing that entertainment BS. Like, they were still rolling out the movies and the TV shows and all that crap. So it was like, I'd rather go through the growing pains.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Out, and now we get to this point. Like, okay, the X
but now let me ask you this, Mello.
Gang.
Now here's the problem. Because it took so long and Microsoft was so far behind, and they was more focused on
Game Pass didn't pick up either.
Well, go ahead. But they were so focused on buying publishers and shit. Now they have to share all the shit they bought, which isn't a bad thing financially. But that whole thing about console exclusivity, it had to go away to the dodo bird, because now, listen, at the end of the day, you could have a war chest of $3 trillion, but once you spend that money, the shareholders are going to, all right, well, what are we going to do to make this shit back? You can't just say, oh, if you're waiting for Game Pass receipts to get back that $100 billion or the $88 billion, it's a long road. So the quick
that's the great part about this though, Rick, because shout out to ABK and the Activision situation. I forgot buddy name, Bobby Kotick. That slow individual who started this whole avalanche of a situation. Microsoft was in a situation where they were saying, hey, we want to own our IPs instead of doing exclusive dealings. We didn't, again, outside sources didn't know about the deal with Call of Duty and what was the percentage and how much was riding on PlayStation side for Call of Duty to be over there. So the moment where we going into the whole spiel of Call of Duty being on the chopping block and being able to be purchased, we already in the lane of trying to get every IP because we was building on Game Pass. Game Pass wasn't what it is right now. This happens, the trickle down effect, everything get exposed in that legal situation. We learned about what was going on behind the scenes with Sony. Now you got all the games, you have your IPs. We're getting continued sequels of video games and IPs, and the money is coming on the back end. If it wasn't for Jim Ryan trying to stop Game Pass for going on the PlayStation market on their app, actually having the app, if he wouldn't have tried to prevent that during that dealing, ain't no telling how this would have felt. Like real talk. Because the number one thing that Phil Spencer and them was talking about was we need the subscriptions. They were going straight. We trying to go like Netflix. We want nothing but subscription-based gaming. Everybody is that's trending now. Everybody want to do a subscription, even in clothing. Microsoft is doing
clothing
gaming atmosphere.
Wait, hold on. I didn't hear about the clothing thing. People are trying to do that.
There are companies like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and things of that nature. They're trying to go exclusive with their clothing because, due to the market of people mimicking their clothes and trying to sell them as fakes, they're going into a membership route when it comes to clothing. So you will have to be verified as a member to purchase their items. And a lot of people are doing that.
That's crazy.
A lot of companies are doing that.
Okay.
I'm putting down Marvel Rivals so I can actually talk.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother lane. My bad. That's a whole nother conversation.
So Rick, just going back to what you were talking about, even getting to this whole console thing. So like, they couldn't have launched Halo. Like Halo literally wasn't ready. Like they barely had the campaign done. You had Craig. The multiplayer wasn't even ready at launch.
So do you think they should have pushed it? Do you think they should have just pushed the whole system back? Because they got to now.
I think you had to launch the system. Really, you should just have to reprimand 343 for being a shit show and not getting their game ready.
Yeah, and now here's what I can say that Xbox actually did do. They forced backwards compatibility on the PS5 because they did. Because Sony was going around here like, hey, listen, man, we can get new. Listen, they're like, hey, we believe in generations. So you were going to still have to hold on to that PS4 if you wanted to play some of those games. Because remember, they had a poll up, I believe it was in IGN or somewhere, like a year before the shit came out. And they were like, do you think that the PlayStation 4 should have backwards compat a PlayStation 5? And then because that poll started because one of the higher ups said, not every game is going to be backwards compatible. And then the ponies hit the floor. They was like, what? And then because they hit the floor because they asked Phil, he was like, all of our games are going to be backwards compatible. And then Sony's like, well, wait a minute, hold on to shit. Because two things, then again, the Sony guys panicked for no reason. They panicked when they heard about the T-flop difference. They lost their shit. Z went and took his shirt off on live TV. So he took his shirt off when he found out that the T-flops was lower than the Xbox. And then when they talked about the backwards compatibility, they lost it about that. But, you know, they still won. Onyx is here. What's good, Onyx? They still won the console war.
About winning, that's what I actually want to ask the panel and what kind of Rick I think was getting to. Like, is there really a point in winning the console war? Like, the more and more I think about it with the direction Microsoft is going, I genuinely think Microsoft is going in this direction, not only because shareholders like, look, you gotta make back $90 billion, but it's because if you win this console war, is it even worth it? Is it worth putting in the billions of dollars, what, you probably spend upwards of $10 billion generation just to lose? Even if you win, is it worth it?
Yeah, because again, there's an old phrase: if you want to make $2 million, you got to spend $3 million. So if they were to win the console war, or if they did, they would have had to put even more money in. I mean, hell, you'd have to practically give the thing away for free if you wanted to sell more. Listen, I think Phil Spencer said it best, Nev. When he said, look, we lost the generation that we shouldn't have lost, which was the one with the PS4 to Xbox.
Correct.
People, look, you know why that hurt? And for those that don't understand, it's because that was a digital library. That hurt. Nobody is going to leave their library of games behind. Hence the reason why they're doing this Xbox Play Anywhere shit. Because now they're like, now you don't have to do it anymore. Hey, Xbox is saying, hey, look, you buy our game here, you can play it here. You can play it on your fridge. You can play it anywhere. Now, is it too little too late? We're probably going to see. I don't know. But this is why they're doing that Play Anywhere stuff is because, remember this, When PS4 and Xbox One launched, it was the first time in history gaming consoles where you didn't have to go down to GameStop to go wait for a game to hear it say that the game got sold out. You go and hook your Ethernet cord up and you start downloading the game at midnight. Hell, in fact, here Sony had a leg up because remember, if the PS4, you can download it before the game came out. On the Xbox One, you can only download it after midnight. So they were playing the goddamn game before we were. You know, that's kind of how it was. You can't, nobody's leaving their digital library. That's a fact. I got a Fandango at home app that has all my physical movies where I use the code. That was a tough generation to you. The only way that you can win a console war now, despite that digital library that you had on the PlayStation 4, is if you came up with a different way to play games. Now I'm talking about, you know, not the handheld way. I'm talking about really a different way of playing games. Like they got some new kind of souped up controller or some experience where you put a helmet on and it looks like you're in a goddamn enchanted forest or something. That's the only way people would leave is the experience. Hell, you got your games. And another reason is too, you can't sell your digital games back. You can't trade them in.
Facts.
So nobody leaving that. Bro, once you lost that gen, that was a tough one. That was a tough one to lose. And the sick thing about that gen is Microsoft, I'm not saying they would have won that gen, but they got cold feet. They walked back a lot of the shit they had. They took the Kinect out of the box. They walked back the DMR shit. Bro, they got scared and shaky. Bro, they weren't operating like a company that was trying to win. They was just trying not to lose, begging people to buy their shit. And then what also didn't help, what a lot of you guys don't understand is GameStop was the final nail in the coffin. They heard that motherfucking you was buying games digital shit. They were throwing PlayStations at you when you walked in the goddamn store. They didn't want to touch that Xbox because they thought, hey, digital games, this shit's gonna put us out of business. Like we can't fuck with this.
Yeah, multiple narratives in the DRM situation.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Hold on. I'm not saying, like, look, Microsoft could have won the console war. That would be worth it. I'm telling you, it is pointless to win the console war because it's that isn't growing. You get sub 200, 250 million console, and it's been generation after generation. They don't even reach 300 million.
Yes, keep going around in the same house.
So, what if you change the game, Rick? I'm not talking about putting on a fucking headset. Like, no. I'm talking about what Microsoft is planning here. If you put a device out there that can play
everything,
Steam games, Epic Games, and so on, you say people don't want to leave behind their library. I fully agree with you.
Well, you bring it with you in that case. You bringing it with you. It's not going anywhere.
But I'm talking about the PlayStation people. Nobody has an Xbox. If you offer a Steam machine, but a Steam machine that actually works with the backing of Microsoft, where he's like, if you buy this console that you plug into your TV and you can play fucking Steam games, that's how you get PlayStation people interested.
Absolutely.
Whether you want to admit it or not, everybody's interested in PC gaming. They just don't want to buy a PC. So until you have access to a PC,
I agree.
That has people interested.
I agree.
And on top of it, and I'll shut up in a minute. But on top of that, Microsoft's real plan is to get Game Pass everywhere because that's how you make money. They want that shit on the PlayStation. They want that shit on Nintendo. They want that shit on Steam. But right now, they have to Trojan their horse way.
And they are.
They're the biggest publisher on the planet.
Yeah.
They got fucking Call of Duty. They got the Elder Scrolls, Fallout. They have the most billion-dollar franchises in gaming, whether you want to accept it or not.
They do. And the crazy thing is,
you can't keep denying them. People talking about, oh, you won't be able to play PlayStation games on the new Xbox. Hell yes,
you will. Of course you will.
Sony's not going to pull out a fucking Steam.
No, they can't.
So you have to look at it this way. Microsoft is setting their up to like get out of the console war, but they're making a whole new market with this Steam machine because Steam tried this a long time ago. We weren't ready for it, but we're ready now.
Yes, because like you mentioned,
and other people making the console, so you don't have to put in much R&D. Yeah. This is a genius move.
Yeah, it's a genius. Now, I want to answer Vaughn's question. Vaughn said, didn't Sony block GeForce? That's a streaming, Vaughn.
Yeah.
That's different. That's the rights to stream. That's almost like like when you get the rights to these damn movies that you use the digital code for. That's different. That's streaming. When you actually buy a Steam game, you own that game. So this new Xbox that they're talking about coming out is where you can have your Xbox library, you can have your Steam library. Obviously, it's going to be your Epic library too. It doesn't make sense not to have Epic over there. Yes, it'd be an open system. It'd be an open system. That's what. Now here's why I'm telling you that there might be interest in this. I'll tell you, when I play my PC, I gotta have perfect posture. I gotta sit in this damn chair that hurts my elbows. I gotta hunch over, looking at this screen in front of me. There is nothing like being able to play on your big screen TV, on the couch, lay back in the recliner, halfway in the bed, holding your controller, playing 2K. That's comfort. I am not comfortable when I'm playing PC, when I'm sitting up like I'm in a goddamn Zoom meeting. I don't like that as far as comfort. That bothers me. So I would be interested in a machine just because, hell, what do you call that here? It's comfort. It's ease of access. That is what. Now, you got to be a fool if you're telling me you're not interested in this, where if you're a PlayStation guy and you bought the PlayStation stuff on PC because you wanted to look better. Because, yeah, you know, hell, Last of Us is coming out now. Last of Us 2 is coming out next month. The remaster on PC. You can't tell me that wouldn't be a W to where you get your PlayStation library that you got on Steam and your Xbox stuff and your Epic stuff in one spot. Bro, that is crazy to have that in one spot. Hell, you sign me up right now. Now, hold on. It is a game changer, but the price has got to be right. Now, something like this, Neff.
Can I ask the panel another question? So, assuming this scenario is real, we have to also look at the rumors. They're saying this device is built with Win32, so they're getting rid of the Xbox API.
Yeah, the Xbox era shit's done.
So what that means is, like, this is literally a
backwards.
So, like, the way people think you can block a Sony game on it is
can't.
Like the same way saying Sony can block people from using a Dell laptop to play their games. No, they can't fucking do that.
They can't block it.
Tell the difference between this PC
they won't be able to tell.
And a goddamn Asus. In fact, Asus might be making a version of this shit.
People are already playing their games on there. Yes.
It's indistinguishable.
Yes.
So in order for Sony to block this, they would have to pull all their games off
Steam. Yes.
That's why you can't use a GeForce example. And they won't do that. So this is the question I want to ask the panel. Let's say you buy this new Xbox PC machine, right? It is a PC.
Okay.
So to the consumer, to Levon, right? You have to pick between buying a PS6 where you only get PlayStation games and multiplats, or you buy the Xbox PC where, again, you'll get all the multiplats plus Steam games plus Epic games
and Game Pass,
plus the PlayStation games that come in later, regardless.
Okay, can I ask this part? All right, going back to this situation,
bro. I think it's a no-brainer.
I'm about to say, going back in this situation, it's clear as day who has literally cornered the market in this situation. I want to answer the first question because I've been seeing y'all got people out here running around touting and fighting over plastic, and both companies came out and clearly said, hey, we are on a hamster wheel and we'll keep selling to the same demographic of people. We need to diversify. We got a whole nother market out there, which was mobile as well as PC. The thing was it's something that Big Money was saying that was so slow, and I kept trying to. I never could intervene because he told it to somebody else. If we're selling cheeseburger and French fries, and I find out that your burgers ain't selling, are you gonna continue selling burgers, or you gonna sell something else? Yes, I'm going to continue selling burgers. I'm just going to change up the platform. I might add some bacon to the burger. I might put a double cheese on there. The point of it is Microsoft said, hey, the console war is dead. It's irrelevant. It's only good for narrative that with social media aspect. But when it comes to the IPs and gaming, we know that Game Pass can be touched in many markets. They see the revenue, especially coming into a membership program where you constantly paying for these said IPs. And one of the things that's crazy about a lot of us as gamers, we tend to run to the trends or the titles that we are comfortable with. We're not going to run to a new title. So when you're looking at the aspect and you saying, yo, they own Gears of War, they got Activision, they got Bethesda, they got ZeniMax, they got all these other IPs that's under their umbrella, and you're getting it under a service, which is very convenient to anybody. And on top of that, you can get PC. If I decide to transfer over to PC, I still get access to that library. It's a win-win on my pocket. Period. Point
But
blank.
that's the
So
thing, Mello. But how much would this thing cost? Like you're not looking at
y'all
a
look.
$700 machine here.
It don't
It-
matter
No,
though.
no, no.
We're
Not
talking
It's
about
worth the price.
800.
It's worth the price though.
yeah, I'm not saying that
but
it's not, but it's
but
it's going to be at least $1,000 if you want a higher end. It's got to be. This thing
But
can't.
look at the aspect of it. We got to think about what just happened. We got history. We got data to pull from. When PlayStation was doing a run, when it was hard to find a PlayStation, people was out here spending 1,500,
They
twelve hundred
were.
dollars to get
Yes.
1,100 at
a
Walmart, my nigga.
PlayStation.
Yes.
You
To get a
feel?
PlayStation that you can typically get from a store for only
Now,
$600, $700.
Mello, hold on. Let me ask you this. Vaughn,
900.
Hold on. Vaughn's got a question here, and maybe you guys can answer this. He said, but you have to play PC versions of games, which has been unoptimized, is what he's saying. What he's saying is the console versions are always optimized better than the PC version. We've seen that with Star Wars, definitely Survivor. That was the first time when I first got my PC. I was like, damn, this looks better on Xbox than it does on a PC. Now,
Yeah, let me let me pull that off real quick. So also the Windows 32 situation, just a simple research. You can just pull out your phone and look.
but you're gonna need backwards
Every X
compatibility though. But you're gonna need
every
backward compat.
every Xbox known to men that have been created by Microsoft has had a modified version of Windows 32. This is no different. That's why everybody was running with this narrative talking about, oh, it's gonna have Windows 32 and they can block it. No, moron. You can go on Steam right now on your Xbox, do the web browser, and still play those said games.
Yeah, I
But I
think.
want to add to
Yeah,
Right
that.
now, on the
yeah.
Series
Go ahead,
X.
Nico. Go ahead.
On the
People would
Series
still
X.
okay. You done,
Oh,
Melo?
go ahead, Nico.
Yeah. People would still play PC games, even though it's a little bit less optimized because you got more options, more gaming storefronts, and freer online.
And you're more
It's like people,
comfortable. And you're more comfortable.
yeah.
Nico, listen. You know when we were sitting there playing that Marvel's Rivals, and you playing on your PC, bro. I'm more comfortable sitting in my recliner, bro. I don't want to be sitting up like I'm in a goddamn
Yeah.
Catholic school.
And the game's still playable. We
Yeah.
having fun like a motherfucker.
Hell
It ain't
yeah.
just gonna be terrible. The game's still playable, bro.
Yeah. Listen.
Also, hold on, that's a very console-minded thing to say, like what Vaughn said. Because Vaughn, if this is a PC, you can change your fucking graphics.
Yeah.
You can
like,
change your
come on, bro.
fucking frame rate.
Yeah, you could. Now, here's the thing: are you guys gonna have the TV to match it? You can't have this $1,100 machine and then come up in here with that goddamn old ass TV. No, he said,
Yeah,
Rick.
I'll worry about that later.
You feel me?
Yeah,
oh.
I mean, realistically, I think we're looking at least $800, but you also have to look at it
Yeah,
from this
bro.
perspective.
The Pro was
Part of-
700.
Yeah, exactly. So part of the problem with consoles is it's expensive as hell to make it, and you sell them at a loss. Microsoft is going to try to get away from that shit. They're going to sell their shit at 800 or more, right?
Or have a
And
third party
then
guy do
other
it.
people start making that shit
Yep,
too.
exactly.
Asus is going to start making that. Dell's
Mhm.
going to start making that. All of them are going to.
They might get Alienware to start doing it for them.
It might be Alienware.
It might be Alienware.
And Microsoft is going to do what they always did best. They're going to sell the fucking software that powers that bitch. Instead of Windows, it's Xbox OS.
Ooh,
Shit like that.
feel the vision.
And, the Iron Mike kind of he's put me in check here. He said, Ricky, you worried about back compat when they just showed off that Moose AI? Because remember, if you're going to Win32, leaving the Xbox shit, you got to worry about backwards compat because it's not out that format anymore. Now you're Win32, so all the console games that I bought, well, maybe I'm the wrong guy here because I play all my Xbox stuff on PC anyway. I don't bother downloading it to the console, but I have that option if I wanted to play anywhere. But my whole thing is
hold up. They're exploring emulation for the backwards compatibility.
Yeah, I just seen somebody.
now is it gonna be? Yeah, but a lot of people don't like emulation. We we can't say that and act like it's nothing. Emulation was a dirty word when we was talking about the PS Now. We can't say it's not a dirty word now. It was back then.
Also, Xbox 360
wouldn't
was
matter.
done for emulation.
Oh, Manhattan is here.
But it wouldn't really matter if it's their own product though, like what they were using it for. So really,
Also, I really feel like people would forget about the digital library if they get access to Steam. Like, I don't think people understand the big importance of
Steam's a
access
bigger
to
storefront.
Steam.
Steam is huge.
it's not even that.
It's
I
huge.
think we gotta at some point, Rick, we gotta be honest. And these motherfuckers ain't playing these 360 games, and it's kind of been showing.
Well, hold on. I still play Left 4 Dead now, but that's on Steam for like $4.
No, but that's the truth though. Like they were crying about it, they got it right.
Yeah.
Nobody's still playing these 360 games. I feel like people just want to. I don't know what it is.
They just want to play Call of Duty again. Now Microsoft owns it.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen. Hey, guilty as charged. That's what made me buy it.
If they just want Call of Duty, they can just bring that over. You don't have to do the whole backward compatible, right?
Well, Vaughn. Well, hold on. Vaughn said y'all better hope this Steam works. Like, hold on, Vaughn. It's here's the thing with Steam, Vaughn. When you pick a game from Steam, it recommends your settings on what kind of hardware that you have. It'll tell you if you got dog shit hardware, we're going to recommend these settings for you. If you got some high-end shit, it says, hey, you can play on Ultra, you can play on Epic. It tells you what you can play on.
Also, like Vaughn, you keep looking at it from a very console perspective. There's multiple iterations of this box. Yeah, there's the Microsoft base box, but then there's the Alienware souped-up box. Think of it like a PS5 Pro.
PC version of this.
Like, there's just a base version, but like, there's multiple iterations that are more powerful. And so
now here's two questions here, Nev. Here's two things that we do have to worry about. Number one, will it be upgradable? Is it something you can say, hey, AMD just released whatever. Can we now go and put a new graphics card inside of this said machine? The same way we laughed at Sony when they were changing SSDs and putting stands together. Are we Xbox guys going to have to lift the top of this thing off, make sure the power's off or it's unplugged from the wall, put the new graphics card in, and then you put it in, like, okay, it works, or sometimes it don't work. And
that's a good question.
Yeah, number two, will it have a disk drive? Because if it is a console, see, that's the thing now. A lot of people like to own a physical library. They want to go to the store and go get the game on the disc. If it's not on the disc and you're going there getting it, the only way you can listen, I understand now most of it's not on the disc anyway.
Disk drive.
Yeah, so I think that's a disservice.
Hold up. What about external disk drive? I mean, since it's a PC, right? I mean, there's many.
I guess. So. I don't think people give a fuck about it enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, Vaughn asked another interesting question, though. Now, look at this. He said that doesn't matter if the PC port is bad itself. Remember that Arkham game? That was bad. He said Star Wars, that shit still broke.
Yeah,
he is right.
Years ago?
Nah, if that Star Wars is still broke, that shit came out like a year and a half ago.
No, I'm talking about that Batman game. That was.
It was bad, bro. Man, that was, my God.
But PC is the biggest market in gaming besides the mobile.
It is now. I want to go back to what you said earlier, Neff, when you said the console shit wasn't growing because more people are getting interested in building a PC or obtaining a PC because everybody knows we're not console warring or anything. PC is the only place where you can get everything. You can get everything. Now, I get it. PlayStation's getting a handful of Xbox stuff, but PC has those titles, PlayStation titles, and they have the PC-only shit that's sold on Steam's storefront,
and
too.
Plus, Steam has a lot of the Xbox titles.
And Steam also has games that show heavies. Yeah. So, they have a whole X-rated section. But anyway, that's what they have some games. Like, some games you can't get. But what is Rust? You're not playing Rust on console, are you? I don't think you are. They got a whole bunch of those games that are like, PC only. And if you have access to PlayStation games, albeit now here's what I would say too. Like, not all PlayStation games, if you buy this thing to play PlayStation games, which I buy a PlayStation to play my PlayStation games on. I'm not trying to do that, especially with MLB The Show. But anyway, I don't think like a game like Helldivers 2. Without PC, that game flops. Like that is where you want like your day and date PC stuff, Sony. It's like Helldivers was 12. Helldivers outsold Spider-Man 2. Bro, that is crazy. I would have never thought in my lifetime that Helldivers 2, some people was telling me that Helldivers was a dead IP and they was shitting on Helldivers, sold more than Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Bro.
And they don't have to pay licensing.
Yeah. Bro, that is crazy. And that game was successful.
PC. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, that's my point. Day and date. Now, if Sony starts going day and date PC, imagine this. Again, hear me out. If they go day and date PC and you have this Xbox machine that can play that stuff, it only makes sense to go and buy the Xbox thing. Now, Sony might get cute and try to throw a monkey. They can't block the game, but they can make you have to sign into a PSN ID. They can do that. They can do that. Exactly. But that's what Microsoft's making you do with Horizon. What's the name? 5. They're making you sign into Xbox shit.
I do have a question. Like that. Do you think with a PC, right? It's gonna be an open platform. You can install software at your own risk, if you get what I mean, as in emulations for Nintendo.
I don't think they'll do that. I don't think so. I don't. Now listen, there's always going to be people like Levon and Nico. I'm about to say there's always guys like Nico and Levon that are going to try to do that. But like on my PC, my rig's $10,000. They told me I wanted to start doing that shit, and they told me I had to take off the virus protection and stuff. I no, thank you. I'm good.
Bro, I don't even use virus protection on my shit.
I mean, there's this retro gaming hard.
Yeah, listen. Now, Vaughn, I disagree. See, Vaughn, I disagree. Vaughn says day and date doesn't matter on PlayStation. You're right, because can I interest you in Helldivers 2? You're making my argument for me. He said still have brand power. Yes, they do. He said nobody buying that Xbox. That's bullshit. I think that's bullshit. I think more people will buy that Xbox than they bought the Series S and X and that Xbox One. More people.
It's nothing to do with Xbox, Vaughn. Like you're right about that. It's everything to do with Steam.
Yes, absolutely. It has everything to do with Steam. And
I guarantee you, even the PC players gonna buy one for the TV, like we just said.
Yes, me right here. Me. Now I ain't buying no goddamn handheld, but me, I'm the guy, bro. Listen, I'm the guy. I would buy it just so I can sit in my bed and play my PC games. Yeah. Fuck yeah, I'll do that.
Why not?
Yes, yo, that makes sense. Hell, I'm not walking that back. You bet your ass I will. He said, will it outsell?
Thing like Monster Hunter on the go and shit, like that new one.
Yeah. Now Vaughn said, will it outsell the PS6? No, it's never gonna outsell the PS6. No, bro, they'll never outsell.
Console war shit over, bro.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
now,
gonna win. Guess what, Vaughn? They did win.
Yeah, they did. Now, Vaughn, my question to you is: will that PS6 outsell the Switch 2? Absolutely not.
There we go.
Yeah, absolutely not. Listen, y'all worried about PS6 while Nintendo's sitting on. Yeah, but bro, listen. So, but see but again, we have to thank Sony for stomping the shit out of Microsoft. Listen, eventually we knew this. We saw this with HD DVD and Blu-ray. They had something that played both, right? I have one of the players. It's a Pioneer. It plays HD DVD. It plays Blu-ray. It plays 4K Blu-ray. It plays 3D Blu-ray. Now, cost me $1,000. A lot of people are not going to pay $1,000 for a goddamn DVD player. But that's what it is. Everybody in gaming has been waiting for one of these goddamn systems where you can play everything. The only place you got that was the flea market when it had the loaded goddamn emulator games already. That's the only time you ever got something like that. Bro, if you can get new releases on Steam, new releases on PlayStation, Xbox shit, and Game Pass, and Epic Store, yes, people will absolutely buy this shit. Why wouldn't you be a fool not to? Why would I? Shit, this would be the one I take with me.
And free online. Staying free online.
Now, that's another thing. If this Xbox shit's going to work, they got to get rid of Xbox Live. You can't charge to fucking play games online no more.
Yeah, the Xbox
can't do it.
Gone.
It's got to go. It's got to go. Got to fucking go. Can't have it no more. Nope. Yeah. Can't.
You'd play games online with Steam. Wait a minute. For free.
Mm-hmm.
No, it can't be.
Absolutely. Yes, got to go.
If they making a handheld, how would that be any different than like? Well, I mean, yeah, that's why you got Rogue Ally and all that stuff on the market.
Yeah.
No, Vaughn, you can't say hardcore PC players not playing on TV. They never tried before. You know, you never had something where you can go everywhere. Now,
wait, hold on. But this isn't even about the hardcore PC player. It's more about the console player interested in
PC. Yes, there you go.
There we go.
There you go, Neff. There you go. You touched on it.
PC gamer will get the handheld because like they can take their games on the go. That appeals to them.
Yes, that's what. Oh, listen. All you got to do is have. You telling me there's not? You telling me there's not 30 million curious people out there? Now, listen. Again, it's all got to be about price. If that bitch comes in at 1100, fuck you, PS6 all day. They're gonna be like, fuck you. Yeah, we're not doing this. You know. Now, listen. Prices. Now, here's why y'all can't complain about price. When they were scalping that shit for 1500, you bought it. You bought it. You can't go, don't get shy now. I don't want to hear nothing about tariffs. I don't want to hear nothing about economy. Bro, there was people out here buying PlayStation 5s scalp prices because they couldn't get their hands on them. Don't say no. I'm not going to buy it because it's too expensive. I don't want to hear that. You, a guy with a nigga, you got a $10,000 gold chain. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
Look, Rick, free money. The government was giving away free money. That's
well, not all the time. Not all of it. Bro, yeah, bro. My Switch. Bro, the Switch that I got, I had to pay $550 for it because they didn't have it anymore. I was waiting in the goddamn line. It's like, you nigga, we ain't got none. I'm like, what? Bro, that shit was crazy. I paid $550. No, the OG Switch, $550. I paid $550.
Yeah, them stimulus checks were being cut.
Yeah, no, it was $100. Wasn't the Switch $349? That was $349, bro.
No, the Switch OLED was.
No. Regular $299. All right, so the regular Switch $299. I paid $550. I paid $550. Yeah. No, I had to order it off Walmart.com. Some third party guy fucked me.
That's your fault, nigga.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody's been. Well, hold on. Everybody's been fucked, and you guys are gonna pay those prices.
Order it online, my nigga.
Bro, order online who? And wait for the next shipment to come in with Kris Kringle? Come on, bro.
It was $700. They opened the door for that shit, bro.
Now the only reason why the Pro didn't get scalped, here's what I guarantee you, motherfuckers, right now. I guarantee you, if Sony pulled back some of those Pros and told you that they were going to be sold out, the scalpers would have fucking scalped those too. And you would have been paying
the point of the fear
of missing out. FOMO. Yes. They would have paid $1,100 for it. They would have paid $1,100.
What's up, Noah?
It wasn't about no COVID.
We're talking about the Xbox PC hybrid revenue.
The future of gaming.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, yeah, we live. So cousin Noah, let me ask you this, cuz. So if you had a choice of buying a machine, I'm not gonna tell you who manufactures it. I'm not gonna tell you none of that. But if this machine can play every single game except for Nintendo stuff, and then you had a choice, let's just pretend. Let's just pretend that we're not all criminals here, okay? All right, so. Let's just say you had a system that can play everything, and you can bring your library from certain, digital storefronts. Would you buy that? Or would you be more interested in a console that only plays, their games, because you're only going to get the third-party stuff. Everybody's getting Microsoft stuff. What would you be interested in more?
Games are going to go to PC a year later anyways.
And you mean this platform, the second platform, you got to pay full price for everything, a la carte, everything.
Yeah.
As a man of intelligence. I would have to go with the first option.
Okay.
Hands down. Wait, hold on, real quick. The platform that allows me to play every game and bring my digital library with me.
Okay.
What one would you do, Rick?
What would I do? It's my answer is a little complicated, and I'll tell you why. We all know that I play MLB The Show on Sony. It's my favorite game out of all games besides Horizon. I play those on PlayStation. That's a fact. Now we know that PlayStation does not release day and date on PC, so that kind of system wouldn't be much for me to get for playing my PlayStation games along with my Xbox games at the same time. At the end of the day, if they still continue this year later shit, I'm still going to be sitting up here like I'm in the office playing the Xbox games on my PC, and then I would on day and date, I would have a PS6 to play the PlayStation exclusive games. I've been doing that for the last, I don't know how many years. But now, if I had expendable cash and one of my kids got kicked out of their private school, I didn't have to pay tuition anymore, and everything was good, yeah, I might get one just for the fuck of it because I'm a lazy nigga. I want to lay down and play my games. But I can't do that on PC. I can't lay down looking at this 49-inch screen like this. I can't do it. That's impossible. However, all I'm saying is, the thing about this is, bro, this shit could be whole car garbage. It could be cans. It could be shite. It could be the worst thing ever. But it got you interested. It got you talking. It got PlayStation guys pushing back. They don't want to hear it. It got them scared.
Rick, hold on. That was cute. You did the Donald Trump thing. It's called the weave because you weaved out the question I asked you. What you asked that man.
But I said mine is complicated. Did I not say my answer would be complicated? I gave you warning. It did. But in other words, I don't know is what I would have to say. I don't know.
Maybe you forgot what you asked him. You asked him when he take the device where his whole digital library is there, or the device where he got to buy it game by game. He said he want the whole digital library there. I asked you, which one would you do? Digital library you want, where you could take the whole digital library?
Well, guess what, Smoothie? The people have spoken already. They took the console where you can keep your digital library. They took the PlayStation because all the PlayStation digital stuff transferred over to their PS5, and that's why they stomped Microsoft out in the console space. Is because of their digital library.
Pay for it again, but
doesn't matter. They still kept it.
I just wanted to say this, bro. The portrayed excellence of PlayStation is a pure illusion. As we look at the NPDs month over month, the games that are being played are the same games that are available on every platform. If you look, even if you go back and look,
I agree with you with that. I've been looking at that, and it's always your Call of Duties, your NBA 2Ks, your what's the other one? Your Minecrafts, your Roblox, your Fortnites, your Marvel. Oh, Marvel Rivals is freaking king, bro. Marvel Rivals might be the only thing that can conquer Fortnite. They might be the only fucking game.
I don't even think they can.
They can. You never know. Because see, here's the thing. Now, look, this depends, though, Neff. If the MCU could get back to what they once were, and all that shit's firing on all cylinders, I think this shit takes Fortnite. Think about it.
What makes Fortnite appeal, though, is it's vastly different games. Like, there's so much in Fortnite. There's concerts in Fortnite.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you can't put that on Rivals. They might say, hey, you know what? Listen, don't forget Fortnite. Listen, for you guys who have a short memory, Fortnite was a $60 game at one time. And then it went free with the Battle Royale shit. Because they tried it. Yeah. So it flopped. It flopped at $60. Yeah. So let's not forget that. Don't forget that.
I never knew that.
And Marvel got a huge. They got plenty of heroes and villains.
It didn't have a battle royale mode in it, but it was like a horror mode. But nobody wanted to play the game. It wasn't until Unreal Engine when it helped PUBG and then brought that mode into their own game, Fortnite, and then the game started to take off.
Yeah, because remember, PUBG was getting all of the love because that was the battle royale. Yeah. But then what happened was, PUBG was like if Call of Duty and Realism had a baby in a battle royale game, that was fun. But then you got this other shit that was free. Like, hey, fuck, I ain't gotta pay $60. Now Von's asking us, why would old single player games being the top played over free to play multiplayer games? I think it's funny that we say that.
I'm glad you asked that, Von. I'm glad you asked that.
Oh,
it's the pure reason why Sony is canceling 10 studios per year trying to find
Jesus.
that one game that they can rely on for income. They can't find it.
Well, hold on, but no, they had it at one time. They had Call of Duty rights. They had their Call of Duty rights. Remember?
Yeah, that's Microsoft now. We own that. Listen, you're right, Von. Single player games, they typically don't last long on MPD, right? But that's the one thing the company that you
wait, hold on, no, before you say that, single player games for Xbox and PlayStation, don't last on MPD. Nintendo will have you saying something different.
That's true. That's a good call out. Good call out.
Because
So, yeah, but that's what PlayStation goes to bed at night on their knees, praying to whoever they believe in. Please send us a live service game that we can continue to make revenue on month after month. Our Jim Ryan said it himself. Our developers aren't good enough to make a live service game, and you see the aftermath. Sony had to shut down 10 of them studios. Man. So but that's my point though. Like, no matter if it's single player or not, these are games not being played by people month over month.
Now
games on every platform that people continue to play. Sony doesn't have one. Sony don't have one. That's the key. Sony
now, do you think going forward? Now, Noah, do you think going forward, Sony will put a multiplayer on their top their one-player games? Like like they did with Ghost of Tsushima, they had a multiplayer mode. Do you think that one's coming for this Intergalactic? Do you think that obviously I think one will be coming for Yotai for sure. I mean they'll have
the Intergalactic. No, Naughty Dog is scared of multiplayer over there.
Well, that's not true. No. They wanted to, but I think Bungie had a lot to do with telling them that hey, listen. I get it. Bungie's telling them that that's the cat's meow, and then we let Concord get out. Hey, I get it.
Neil Druckmann came out of his own mouth and said, "We do not want to do multiplayer. We are not into that atmosphere. We didn't want to take the time to actually produce a live."
Now, listen.
Neil Druckmann. I never heard Neil Druckmann say that. So when they acquired Bungie broke it down to them and said, "Hey, look. You know that once you get done with this project, you're gonna still have to utilize your resources, your people, your time on maintaining this game." So they weren't forward thinking, and like they thought they'll put out the game and move forward. I don't know if they were planning to use a support studio or what, but Bungie brought it to their attention that you gotta keep doing it. Like they weren't aware of how much resources it requires to maintain a game.
Now,
a live service game.
Now, here's what I would say. I'll be honest with you guys. I think Sony is making a big mistake by letting those Xbox games come over to PlayStation.
What?
I think that's a bad mistake. I think that's a bad mistake. I don't think they should do that.
That's a bad take.
I don't think so. I don't think they should.
Don't have a say.
Why you say that?
No, they do. I'll tell you why. Now, hold on. If you are the powerhouse, you're fucking PlayStation. You're the top brand. Why give them any kind of exposure of what games that they have? Don't you want to see them choke on their own vomit? You're kind of hold on. But hold on. But Neth, we just talked about the Trojan. That's why I said Sony. Sony don't need that profit. Microsoft needs to get that $90 billion back, not Sony. So now, well, listen, I get. Whoa, hold on. I get Concord failed. Yes, that's not Microsoft. Why is Sony allowed? Because that's what I'm saying. That right there to me is you're letting the other people know this is what they have. The Indiana Jones is a good fucking game. They get that shit. What's that gonna do? Once the PlayStation guys run through that shit, well, all right, when's part 2 coming out? Dang, Phil Spencer. Well, hold on. Then Phil Spencer could pull this bullshit. He get up there and cross his legs. Well, there's no definition of Indiana Jones 2 coming out on PlayStation. We put it out there on the first one, and we really don't know. It did sell well, but it's taken on a case by case basis. So now, what you gonna have? The guys, again, we talking digital libraries. Xbox Play Anywhere. So the Sony guys that bought that Indiana Jones game, that bought those Forza games, if they bought them on PlayStation, and now they decide to switch to this new Xbox, now they can bring all of that shit over there and say, hey, we're back home with it. Now we didn't lose all of those games that we bought. That's the fucking Trojan horse. That's why I'm saying, why would Sony let them do that? Because that's what the fuck can happen.
Because Noah just mentioned the reason why they doing it. They have an issue where they cannot produce. Our developers are ass. We can't make multiplayer games. And on the other side of the goddamn pond is a company that have not only one, two, four, six, seven, eight multiplayer games that's fully functional, ready to go and roll out. At this point in time, we are having an IP issue. They don't have shit on the fucking market worth mentioning. The Spider-Man incident happened. We seeing $300 some million for a game that wasn't producing
Well,
shit.
hold on. But before
Wait,
that,
wait,
hold
wait, hold
on.
on, wait,
But
wait.
but why was
Hold
Spider-Man
on,
$300 million though,
hold
Mello? The
on,
licensing was
hold on.
$100 million. That's why.
The point, but that's the point. We are the man came, the new CEO came in and he saw a complete shit show of a company. You are doing massive money for all of these IPs that's barely doing a return.
Mm.
You got Concord that literally failed. You have DLC and multiple IPs in the millions that is not making nowhere near the profit that another game like Call of Duty is making. And at this point, we don't even have Call of Duty no more. We just take a percentage from that. We have an internal issue with our IPs. And literally, you
I get
saw
what
it,
you're saying.
but you literally saw it full force at that point. So when you got this new CFO that's not on the mindset of Jim Ryan and all the other previous owners, he's saying, hey, if you got them IPs and our consumers want to check them out and buy them, bring them over here. Let's do a test run in a sense. Let's do that test run. You gonna give us 30% profit? Okay, cool. They
Hold on.
charted,
Let me
they
say this
made
though.
money. We're making money.
Let me say this too though. PlayStation, they don't have the say so. As long as when you're a publisher and you sign a publisher agreement with Sony, you can put as long as that contract is there, you can put any game on PlayStation storefront as long as it doesn't violate any terms and conditions. So,
but Noah, why would you though?
Hold on, Microsoft could literally have a lawsuit if Sony were to ban them from putting their games on the platform because they have a publisher agreement with Sony.
All I'm saying is, and again, this is I'm about to end the show. Some of the stuff we're not gonna get to. Look, it's already 9/11. I hate saying that, but it's already 9/11. But all I'm saying is, make no coincidence about this. They started this Play Anywhere. If you buy an Xbox game, you have to sign into an Xbox account to play Forza and Indiana Jones. That's a fact. So now, if you give them all of those Xbox games, even the Call of Duties that they say that, hey, we want to buy Call of Duty, we don't want to get it from Game Pass. That's the Trojan horse, because now all of those Xbox games that Xbox is going to be letting you play on PlayStation for the next 2 years, 2.5 years until that new Xbox comes out. Now, when you're in the store on release day, it is an easier choice to make to leave that behind, especially if you know that you can bring your PlayStation Steam shit over and you can bring all the Xbox shit that you bought on PlayStation to the new system.
Because you made an account on it.
Yeah, so now you made a they make you sign in, so now you can leave. Yes, that's why I said, why would you let them do the Trojan horse to you?
But like Noah said, and Mello, they ain't got no choice, bro. Sony broke, my nigga. Sony.
Bro, it's in the bro. It's like telling the customer they can't shop there, but like you can sue them for discrimination. If they didn't do anything to violate the terms.
But Noah, listen, I'm not faulting, but because I'm not hitting Microsoft, I'm asking Sony, how can y'all fall for this okie doke shit? It's in the top bro. This is in the top pre-order, bro. Listen, man.
No, listen. When they design these publisher contracts, they never fathom a situation where a competing platform will just openly put their games on the platform.
But that's a trap. It's a trap, bro.
I don't know how they feel about it.
You talking about
contracts? I do know.
Yeah, that's just a trap.
Point, they can't do nothing about it legally.
And to add on to what Noah is saying.
Now,
the situation with the ABK deal screwed them over in many ways than what we think. It exposed that Call of Duty was their number one bread and butter over there. One. 2, y'all fought tooth and nail to prevent Game Pass, the application, from going to the PSN store, but you wanted to continue to do an extension of Call of Duty, which was the 5-year deal that they got going on right now. Call of Duty's going to have that contract of being there for over 5 years, and then after that, they go back to the table to determine what they want to do. You, even in that market, what you're saying, Rick, it was already screwed, because guess what? That information and that data that you was trying to pull away from Microsoft to not get access to, they already have it due to the fact that you got Call of Duty over there. And the moment they switched it over to the Azure servers, it's a done deal. It's checkmate.
That's what.
Hey, Ricky.
Yep.
Top pre-order don't mean a bunch of sales. You know that, right?
Well, listen, no, not Vaughn, but hear me out here, Vaughn. If Microsoft is doing this Play Anywhere shit, and when you buy these Xbox games and make you sign into a Microsoft account, they're doing Play Anywhere. So now, when it's time to choose, you done bought all Microsoft shit, whatever, you signed in, you own it, you can play it anywhere you want to. You can play it on Steam, you can play it on Xbox. But now when the time comes to choose your next console, and they're telling you, hey, you know what? Not only can you have all the shit, the Microsoft shit that you bought, oh, by the way, if you had a Steam account and you bought PlayStation shit, you can bring all that shit over here and play on this one system.
I mean, if we're assuming that's how it's going to work, sure, yes. I still don't think it's going to change.
Okay, and my whole thing is, if I'm Sony, why even let them motherfuckers in the room? Don't even put this shit up there. Starve them. Tell them, you know what?
I just wanted to say the point to the pre-orders, like Indiana Jones being the #1 pre-order, that don't really mean much. Spider-Man 2 was #1 pre-ordered on Steam, #1, and that shit had 17K players. That shit don't really mean nothing until you see the actual numbers. So,
but now let me. Do you think that would be a problem though? Don't you think that's a problem by them letting Microsoft put their stuff on their system, sign it into Xbox? You don't think that's an issue?
No, nobody's moving to Xbox, bro. Yeah. If motherfuckers ain't moved to Xbox for Call of Duty, they're not moving.
It's a Steam machine. We're talking about a Steam machine, man.
What that mean? Then the last Steam machine
keep going back to that console war mess. This is beyond console war.
Didn't the last Steam machine flop?
We talking about everything together though.
Bro, all them Steam machines flop.
Nico, is that confirmed that that's how it's gonna work? Is that confirmed? Did they confirm that? Or we just speculating?
Well, that's how the handheld works now. I'm not talking. The handheld works that way. Yeah, but I'm just saying. But hold up, the handheld is basically like a feeler out there to see how this shit, how many people are going to be receptive.
Listen, the handheld do that right now, and nobody's running.
Yeah, a whole lot of bootlicking going on.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Ricky.
Look at that, man. At the end of the day, what matters?
Yo, easy, Parker. Parker.
It's the bottom line. And what's the bottom line? It's the company's bottom line.
Nigga Vaughn was giving his point. Damn. Nigga Parker kicked the door open. Easy, Parker. Hold on, Vaughn was speaking. Did you mute him?
When we start talking about comic book shit, get the fuck out of here.
My fault.
Yeah, I think he might have muted Vaughn. Vaughn couldn't hear.
Hold on, Vaughn.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Vaughn, he had you muted. That's why he didn't know.
I got your better decorum than that. That's on me.
Oh, yeah. Don't the handhelds do that now? And nobody.
Yeah, the handhelds. Yeah, the handhelds do that now.
They selling shit.
You know what? That's a good point. Vaughn made a good point. The handhelds do exactly what we're talking about. The same thing. You can get on that hand. Well, no, it's not out yet. On the handheld for Xbox, the one with the Xbox tag,
how about you?
That's gonna play.
If that shit like $700, I guarantee it's not gonna sell.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be $700. I don't think.
Okay, Nico, why the handhelds not selling right now? Then?
Why you talking about hell? We talking about a home console.
No,
PC,
we're talking about hybrid. But the handhelds do that right now. Why they not selling?
But it's not powerful enough to play the games like like regular console.
Okay, yes, they are. They just run them very bad. They are.
Hey, Vaughn, with Vaughn, I'm gonna say this. With I think the reason why they're doing what they're doing, and it's smart in my opinion, is because it is. For whatever reason, the handhelds did blow up to an extent when it first started. And a lot of people was actually out here investing like
it's only like 3 million and it's been out for like 4 years.
But no, I'm just saying like popularity, like the trend, like people were speaking on it. And I think Microsoft, this is just my opinion, I think Microsoft is kind of like late to the party and not knowing that the handhelds aren't as successful as
Yeah, they
they
niche.
think
Yeah,
they
they
are.
niche.
So
Yeah,
what
they
they're
niche as
doing
hell.
is they're saying, hey, instead of us going in doing the R&D in this and developing our own third party license it out, let's see what the test the water, let's see how it turned out. If
Mm-hmm.
it's good, it's good. If it get a bad rep, it ain't on us, and it's cool. It's like
I'm just
I alleviate the hit.
Now the
You
only
get what
thing
I'm saying?
the only thing I would tell you,
I'm just saying.
the only pushback I would give you, Vaughn, is you can't compare a handheld to a home system.
I just don't think. I just don't see why would this sell. I just don't see that. I just don't see the benefit. And
You don't see the
look,
benefit?
not really. Now if you gotta play PC ports, fuck no.
Okay.
You think casual console guys gonna want to go in there and fuck with that settings just to make the game different?
I'm not saying all of them, but some of them be interested and say, hey, if I can get in the PC space for
Hey,
$700-800
man,
bucks.
I'm just saying it's not the exact same way, but we had the same debate when the Xbox Series X and PS5s when they come out. People thought because the Series S was $300, they was on one generation. People thought this. You can't lie and say they didn't.
Well, there was one guy in particular.
And what we got now?
I haven't seen him in a while.
That's fine. Hold on. My bad, partner. And as much as why we shouldn't speak like this is a fact, you gotta think about how does this make sense for Microsoft to make money? If motherfuckers, why would
Yes,
motherfuckers
that's
buy
right.
games
They would be
off
cannibalizing their what's the name?
Why people will buy games off the Microsoft store?
What you mean?
But if they have Game
Why
Pass
would
in
they-
there,
why-
but the machine's gonna have Game Pass.
Everything's not in Game Pass.
All Microsoft first party stuff is.
Okay, that's cool, but all the big games is not in Game Pass.
But they have 3 of the biggest games that will be in Game Pass. They have
I say we
Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Elder Scrolls, Minecraft.
Hey, don't they got that right now?
Yeah,
they have it right now, but you can use that as their incentive to roll out.
Mello, you the one that said everybody's gonna move to Xbox because of Call of Duty and Game Pass.
Wait, hold on. I did not say that.
The Great Migration. You remember that?
Uh-oh.
All right, now hold on, bro. I said that for the reason between the 360 and the West name. I did never say it was going to be a great migration.
That shit ain't go like you thought it was gonna go. You thought it was gonna be
actually it is there. If I want to really be technical with you, it's just not in the aspect. Hold on, wait. It ain't in the aspect of what you think. Because if I'm looking at the great migration, if you look at the landscape right now, anytime you boot up a game, you probably seeing Microsoft with the Azure server. You got their IPs on the PlayStation market. Now you got them moving over to the Nintendo. So instead of it's just a takeover. It ain't a migration, it's a takeover.
Take over. But listen, I'm gonna end the show. Y'all can keep fighting. I'm gonna end the show. Well, wait, hold on. I want to hear what Parker got to say first before we end it.
Buy stuff on that. Like I don't understand it. Why would people buy stuff on
I think Microsoft big play is this. It's not. I don't think it's necessarily going to be the console market right now. I think the big play where they're trying to set up is more getting into the PC market.
That's because they're going to win 32. Yes.
Yeah, right. Doing that though, regardless, like PC, regardless of what devices, PC is still PC. So I think majority customers is going to delve into that PC market. Might get that device, or might just get it gaming PC though, right? Might just go to their local Best Buy, get your what?
Would you get one? Would you get one, Parker?
It's hard to say because I don't know what the specs will be on that, and compared to what I can get from a pre-built though. To be honest though.
Yeah, he's right. Now let me ask you this. Now again, I'm 2 years into PC. My whole thing I was saying was I never got a chance to play a PC game laying down in the bed or sitting back in my recliner. So you can't do that because of the desk and how it's on it and all that. You can't do that. No. That's why I said if I got it, I am interested in it, but I'm not saying I'm going to buy it. Look, the bottom line is I'm not leaving PlayStation to play MLB The Show anywhere. It's not on PC. Y'all know how I feel about that. So,
hey, Ricky, I got a question for you now.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they got all the storefronts, PlayStation and that machine is still going to all have the same games, except for the PC eccentric games that console guys don't like anyway.
Yeah, you need mouse and keyboard for.
I'm gonna say
what's gonna be the difference?
The biggest problem for I'm gonna say this: the biggest problem for Microsoft.
Good point.
Is they're going up against what brand popularity, right? And that's Nintendo and Sony. That's their biggest problem, though. really. You know, they can put
I'm
the
sorry
games on the
Oh, go
go ahead.
ahead, Parker.
No, I'm
Go
just saying
ahead.
that's really the biggest problem where they probably run up to. Yeah, they gonna make their money, because they putting the games on multiple devices. Yeah, Microsoft's a software because it's all about them making the money. So, and that's really what it is. So now you see they transition in business. It was some a business model is not really working how you want it to work. You always transition to some what else, or you really
You're
get what
right.
you really want.
Or you move to what is working, and what is working
Yeah.
is PC Game Pass. PC Game Pass has some growth every year.
30%
Can I say
growth.
something? Can I say something
Yeah.
real quick before you jump in?
Yeah,
So,
go ahead, brother.
yeah, I can't say now. My bad. I was in the store. But about the handheld market, right?
Mhm.
We can't judge what the potential of a product by how it's performing today. Like if you have that mindset, you'll never win in the stock market. Like right now, handhelds, PC
Man.
handhelds are niche right now. But wait till they get to a point where they're cheaper to manufacture. You have more competitors on the market.
Battery
It's gonna
life. The
drive the
battery
price
life's
down.
got to be better too. You got to get a better battery life.
Get a better,
I
I just don't
know
think.
what
I
he
just don't
said
think
though.
people. I just
It's
don't think
gonna
people
get
care about
there.
handhelds outside of Nintendo.
I want to kind of know what
I know
he just
people
said
do. People
too.
care.
You know what? No. The problem is what happens if the Switch gets more powerful, right? Because I'm hearing a lot of good things about the Switch too, though, as far as with Nvidia
Oh
with the AI
shit! Talk
upscale and
that
stuff.
shit,
So
Parker.
then you got a problem.
Yo,
You
Nico clap to that. You know, that Switch.
But hold on, think about the cell phone, bro. When the cell phone first came out, people were on landline. You know, people looked at cell phones like, "Yeah, no, we don't need that. Just pick up your house phone." Bro, now nobody has house phones.
But you know what helped?
Cell
You know what helped the cell
That's a
phone?
bad example, bro. Them handhelds
No,
not selling, bro.
the cell phone price dropped, and you were able to use your banking account. You could save your credit cards. You could save your license. They turned a cell phone, which at one time you could only dial out and get calls in, to texting, to going on websites, to all that shit. They made it an all-in-one thing, which is kind of what this thing is, an all-in-one.
But we had, but we seen that. But we seen that handheld boom before. We seen that
I'm
handheld
gonna say
boom.
one last thing though, to Noah. No, to you. I'm gonna say if the Switch starts to get more multi-plat and they're serviceable multi-plat, meaning like
Which they
solid
will,
performance,
they will.
right? Then that PC handhelds could be in a little bit of trouble though, because listen, brand popularity is gonna win out.
Parker, if I make music, I can carry a handheld PC around with me and record, hook a whole studio up to it, hook a mic to it, record it.
Doesn't that Steam Deck have a camera on it?
Well, it's more than functionality than just gaming. What the
But
gaming?
why do y'all think people
PC.
want that? Why do y'all think people want these fucking gaming?
Okay.
If I want to stream my games right online or through Twitch, and I got a camera on my handheld, I can stream anywhere,
And that
bro.
shit can barely do that.
I'm not
Shit
confined. What you're not understanding is the functionality. You have way more functionality with this handheld because
We
it's portable.
visionaries. Tell them no.
Then you do
Visionaries.
and confined in one room.
And nobody
wants cutting off the blood circulation to your legs because you sitting down in one.
Nobody want that handheld. Why am I selling that? It's been out for like 4 years. It's been out for
Noah.
Why not moving?
All right. Yeah.
No, Noah. I'm not saying the handhelds is gonna. What I'm saying is what we do know has been one supreme handheld manufacturer over the course of time with the software sales. That's been the Nintendo, right? We can all agree on that.
Yeah, but here's the problem with the handhelds. You can't play the live service games. You can't.
Nobody's spot is permanent, bro. Hold on, nobody's on top of the mountain forever.
This is what I'm saying.
Ricky, you don't find it crazy, Ricky, that the fucking they got like how many PC handhelds?
About five of them shits. Yeah, man.
Hold on. It still ain't outsold the Vita, and that was a massive flop.
Yeah. And they're more expensive.
Let me ask y'all this real quick. How long have the handheld market been going? Like years wise? Like how many years?
Like two. Yeah, like 2 years. Like 2 years. It started with, I think, well, if you're talking PC, you got to start with the Steam Deck.
Yeah, been like 5 years.
Yeah, you got to start with. Well, that's the only one. I would say you got to start with Steam Deck.
A Steam Deck.
Yes. Yeah, I would say a Steam Deck.
Since the Steam Deck, how many years?
Like 5 years.
I don't know.
3 years.
3 or 4 years,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
It came out in February 2022.
Bro, you told me still ain't they combined. Now you really see that they not at 10 million yet. What are we talking about?
Let me just say this though, right?
It's still in an infancy. So I'm gonna use a cell phone for example, right? When we was running around with Nokia phones that played Snake, nigga, cell phones wasn't popular.
Brother,
People rarely had a cell phone.
Nobody wanna play.
It wasn't
Now Noah. Well, hold on.
Access to cheap smartphones. It started. That's when the cell phone market started to boom.
Well, Noah, let me ask you this though. Like how? But think about this. Think about this. If those free to play games, if those free to play games are your number one games, that's what everybody's playing, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
You can't play those on them fucking handhelds. You don't have that.
You can.
Bro, that 5G ain't enough to play like a Fortnite up there.
And they run like shit.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about if you're not on. Hold up, let's say if you're not. Let's say if you're not, no Wi-Fi.
Bro, one at a time. Now we gotta get it one at a time.
One at a time, exactly.
Good shit.
One at a time, yo.
Good shit. All right.
Yeah. Now, Rick, I'm saying this: like the Switch the Switch 2, I should say, has really got good opportunity to really put a foothold more so and snuff out the PC console handheld.
Hold up. One at a time. Let Parker talk.
I'm just say this, all right. I'm just saying if they get the multiplats and their solid performance, and that NVIDIA upscaler does well, then I would be inclined, right? Now this is an if though, to get the Switch over, say a Steam Deck. If I'm getting that solid performance and playing those multiplex, and along with playing those Nintendo exclusives as well with the multiplex, yeah, I'll be inclined to just invest in a Switch though. Because I know what I'm getting though.
I've been saying that forever.
Even without all that, it's gonna sell more than them fucking Steam Decks.
Brand
name alone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm trying to tell Noah. So that's what it's gonna come down to. And then let's say hypothetically, if Sony comes out with a handheld, then ain't nobody want to buy a Steam Deck then, or the Rogue Ally salad.
Hey, Ricky, you want to watch no cap, Ricky?
What's that?
What was this when they said when the VR sold like that?
You gotta keep that same energy. Yeah, because Steam Deck only sold 4 million.
VR makes people sick. Hold on, bro. VR makes people sick for one. And it's not it's not.
You can't say
there's no functionality. Hold on, listen. There's no functionality in VR. There's no functionality in VR. The PC handheld has way more functionality than the Nintendo Switch.
And yet nobody
casual gamers and more.
And nobody buying
right now. Right now, it's the price. It's what we're telling you. It's in its infancy. It's only been out 3 years. The price, the price is too high.
But
but even a Rogue Ally has sold under 500,000. The Steam Deck is at 4 million.
At how much? At how much, Ricky?
Well, they cost about $600-$700. They cost.
It's not intuitive though.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
The Switch as well.
But Noah, here's the problem with that. But Noah, here's the problem with that. Technology gets better, right? So you got your Rogue Ally. Now exactly, go get more expensive because now you got
it's gonna get cheaper. Ricky.
How?
What's cheap? It's still $500. It's still gonna be like $500.
Listen.
That's cheap.
You could get hold on. So you could get a 2080 Ti. How much did that cost at lunch?
I don't remember that.
I had a 2070 Super.
It was like in the $1,000 range, right? Okay. You could get a
$1,000. Yeah.
You could get a 4060 now that can go toe to toe with a 2080 Ti in most games. And it's cheaper.
No.
So the handheld is not going to have the most. If you go for the most advanced, most highest performance, it's going to be high price. But you're going to be able to get today's performance at a lower price tomorrow. That's the sell on it, bro. That's the sell.
But you fail to realize this.
You got to stop being narrow-minded, bro. Be like,
how narrow-minded, bro? Hold on. Handhelds can't sell more than the Vita, and that was a flop.
Hold on, let me say this though to Noah. No, this you got to remember, right? Listen, I'm
The
trying to
Vita
tell
was
you.
like, how much was the Vita? Like $300, $400?
It was
300.
250. It was 250 for the Wi-Fi and 300 for the.
Yeah, $299.
Okay, yeah, but here's the thing, right? Let's say parents, whoever, consumers is gonna have more trust in a Switch 2 handheld opposed to spend over $500 or more. Hold on, no, wait a minute. Hold on, no, just listen, hear me out. They're gonna support the Switch 2 more than going out and buying, like, say, a Steam, you know, because you know it's gonna be more places to get a Switch 2 than more of those console handhelds, though. When you look at it.
Not true, bro. You got people going out, parents going out buying their kids pre-built PCs from Walmart.
Yeah.
At $500 or $600 now. Imagine they get all of that in a handheld at a lower price.
Yeah.
But it's not a Switch 2.
Yeah, but hold on. But that Steam Deck or whatever is gonna be lower. It's not gonna be as strong as that Walmart pre-built. That Walmart pre-built is stronger.
Not getting the point, dog. Y'all keep talking about. I keep saying tomorrow.
Okay.
Today's performance.
But I would push back on this, Noah. So now you're not talking about Steam Deck. You're talking about Steam Deck 2.
No,
Ally 2. Yeah. But I'm just saying, in the future, so it won't be these ones. It'll be the newer ones.
No, I'm not talking about this.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I just want to make sure. Yeah, that's all.
I'm not talking about the ones
in general. Okay, no doubt.
Next, AMD APU they use.
Yeah, they're going to continue to refine. They're going to continue to get better. But we got cell phones now that perform better than the computers we had growing up in high school.
Yeah, we do.
Like, bro, we grew up on Windows 98, Windows Millennium Edition. This.
That was working, you know what I'm saying? Processor. Oh my God.
You would have never thought a fucking phone would outperform a whole PC, bro.
Yeah, here's the thing, though, right? You know, I look at I hear what you're saying, though, Noah, right?
Not next year, but within a few years.
I hear what you're saying, though, but what we do know is this: it don't matter who got the most features, right? It's the ones that cater to the most casuals, though. That's what's gonna come down to what they want. Yeah, it is. I'm talking about business, though, right?
Bro, casuals also care about functionality. The thing of casual don't care about functionality is crazy.
Yeah,
no, most games too. Oh, look at the iPhone, though, right?
I want to.
You get more features on Android, but the iPhone is so simple. They cater to that a lot.
Victory has defeated you.
I want to thank everybody that came through. It is 9:36. I got to take my butt to bed. Shout out to everybody that came through. Shout out to Neff who came through. Got everybody stirred up. Appreciate that. And I got to get my butt to bed. But it was good hanging out with y'all. Hopefully I'll see y'all either this weekend or definitely on Monday. Y'all have a good night.